Hello friends, welcome to another video, and in this video we'll be talking about getting this picture from this to this. I'll show you the step-by-step process I use to edit this picture from blemish remover to frequency separation and dodge and burn. If you're new to this channel, kindly consider subscribing and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when a new video is posted. Don't forget to drop your comment as well. Let me know your view and what you think we can do to make these videos better and more educative. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, welcome back. Alright, so the first thing I would like to do is to create an empty layer. On this empty layer, I will try to remove the blemishes with my spot alien brush tool or clone stamp tool. So the first thing to do is to create the empty layer. First, I will come down to the bottom icon here and pick on the plus icon to create an empty layer. I would like to rename this layer blemish remover. So once that's done, okay, let me rewrite this blemish remover. All right, great. So once that's sorted, next thing I want to do is to come to my toolbar here and pick on spot alien brush tool. Let's try spot alien brush tool first. I'll need to zoom in to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm trying to remove all the blemishes. We'll ensure that the brush is not too big, because if it is too big, it will create damages on the skin, and we don't want that at all. You can try to pick up some blemishes on here as well, so as to reduce our work in frequency separation. The more we are able to pick out from here, the less work we have to do of frequency separation. So let's see what you've done. So these are before and after. Okay, so moving forward, the next thing I want to do is to create a frequency separation layer. So how do we do that? I'll need a stamp visible layer to do that. So to do that, I'll click on Ctrl Shift Alt E. So this will give me a stamp visible layer. So with this layer, I can decide to create my frequency separation on top of it. So the first thing I'll do after that is to Ctrl J. So that duplicates the layer for me. So afterwards, I would like to rename the two layers. I will rename this low frequency. Low frequency. So once I rename this low frequency, I rename this high frequency. High frequency. High frequency. So afterwards, I will select the two layers and group them. So to group them, I will drag them down to the folder icon here, right here. So yeah. So once I do that, it will be grouped. And I would like to rename the whole group frequency separation. Okay, once that's done, I'll open the layer and start working. So I'll go from on top of my low frequency, I'll go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then let's pick on 8. It shouldn't be too bad. And then high frequency again, I'll go to image, apply image, and then here I'll make sure all my settings is correct. You can compare the settings to yours to ensure we are on the same page. So I'll make sure my layer is on frequency, low frequency, while blending is on subtract. And I make sure my scale is on 2, offset 128. With this, I can proceed. Okay. So then I change my blend mode from here to linear light. I click on this right here, yeah, and click linear light, right? So afterwards, the next thing I'll do is to work on the blending. So what we've done right now is to separate the tone, the colors from the details. So now I can work on the colors without touching the details, and I can work on the details without touching the colors, pardon me. So the first thing I want to do now is to work on the colors. I will try to blend the colors we have on the skin to look better. So afterwards, we can consider if we need to work more on the details or not. So right now, I would like to zoom in a little bit, not too much, so as to be able to see what I'm doing very well. So right now, I'll click on the mixer brush tool. So I'll go to my toolbar right here, and then I'll pick the brush tool, right click, it gives me more options, and then I will click mixer brush tool. I'll make sure my settings here is correct. All right, so I've already set this. You can check it out to make sure we are on the same page. So I make sure this is unchecked while this is checked. This is on custom because I selected this number myself. Wet is 30%, load 30%, mix 30%, float 30%, 10%, and 0 degree. So you can check this out if it works for you, because this is the settings I'll be using for the mixer brush tool right now. All right, so that being said, I will proceed to blend the skin. I'm not trying to move around the color or mess up the color that is already there. All I'm trying to do, right, let's pick this again, right. All I'm trying to do is to make sure the unwanted colors are blended very well to look better. All right, so moving forward, I will try to blend. I'll blend my highlights separately, midtones separately, and shadows separately, without trying to move any into the other. All right, so now I'll go to my eye frequency and I'll click on the clone stamp tool. Then I'll zoom in and start to clone the unwanted blemishes out. I'll clone the good skin and stamp it on the bad one to ensure we have a very smooth transition in all of this. All right, we can see that that's giving us a better look overall. We have to be careful here because we don't want to change the shape of the lips or the shape or structure of the face. You can see that the radius of the clone stamp tool is not too big. It is that way so that we'll be able to control the places we are correcting. If it is too big, it will be harder to control. And if we stamp on bigger areas, we might risk having unrealistic patches. And that's not what we want, you know. So we try to take out as much blemish as we can, as much as we can see, but we're not trying to like dull up the whole face or make it look unrealistic. All right, so moving on to the forehead right now. All right, so let's see here. All right, so once this is done, I would like to go back to my mixer brush tool on the low frequency. I can locate my mixer brush tool right here. Then I'll blend on the areas I might have. Okay, mixer brush tool. So I'll blend on the areas I might have made a mistake. So afterwards, the next thing I would like to do is to check where we are coming from and where we are right now. Let's see before and after. Before, after. Averagely, I think we've done a fair job so far. If it were to be a commission job, we need to like go details and all, but I don't want to take all of the time. Just understand the basics and what we're trying to do here and practice very well on your own. If you have any question, I'll be in the comments to attend to every question and I'll be happy to respond to you. All right, so after the frequency separation, the next thing I want to do is to check out my dodge and burn. So if you don't understand what dodge and burn is basically us trying to make the shadows more obvious and the highlights more obvious. So with that, we are giving a better shape and a better look to our image. Definitely not in a way that would change the whole look, but to enhance the beauty. So let's check how it's done. So I would like to close this group because we might come back, but for now we're done with it. So what I would like to do to create my dodge and burn layer is to head on to my adjustment layer down at the bottom here, right here, and then I'll locate curves. So once I create curves, I'll try to push this up a little bit, not too much, just enough to create an highlight. So once I do this, I will invert this selection. I will invert this change by clicking on Control High, Control High. So once I click on Control High, I'll go back to my adjustment layer. But before I do that, let me rename this first layer, this first curve layer, our dodge. Dodge basically means the highlight, right? Okay, good. So now we go back to our adjustment layer right here and we'll click on curves again, curves. So now, remember the first time we took it up, now we are taking it down. So I'll pick my curves and bring it down a little bit, just enough to create a shadow, right? And then I'll invert this correction again by clicking on Control High, right? As you can see, once I click on Control High, it hides the effect on the image. So after that's done, I'll rename this Burn. So burn basically means the shadow part, right? Shadows. So I would like to group the two layers together by clicking on Control and selecting the two, and then I'll drag it down to the folder icon right here. Yeah. Once I do that, I have a group, right? So now I'll rename the whole group Dodge and Burn and Burn. All right. So once that's sorted, the next thing I want to do is to click on each of these layers when I need them. So the first thing I need is the dodge. What the dodge does is to enhance the highlight. So we're going to brush on the highlight. So dodge is for the highlight and burn is for the shadows. Dodge is for the highlight and burn is for the shadows. Don't get it mixed up. Pretty straightforward. So now on the dodge layer, I'll click on my brush. I'll go back to my brush tool. No longer mixer brush tool right now. Brush tool. So once I have the brush tool, I will increase the radius a little bit. Yeah, so once that's sorted, I'll brush over the highlight places. No, not too much. Drag this up a bit. Nice. So after that, I've done this right now. I'll go back to the bone layer. Don't worry, we'll still reduce the opacity to still look more realistic. So now on the bone layer, I'll brush on the bones, the cheekbones, definitely, or the shadow parts right here. Okay, so once I outline this way, the next thing I want to do is to reduce the opacity because we don't want it changing the look of our image like this. So let me go with 25. So we have 25 right here. So let's see before and after, before and after, before and after. If you think that's too much, you can still go ahead and bring it down lower till you are satisfied with what you have. So we have before and after, before and after. So let's check the final before and after. So right, this is what we started with and this is what we have now. Before, after, before, after. Once again, thank you for watching this video. If you have any question, like I said, I'll be in the comments to respond to everybody. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe and turn on post notification so as to be notified when a new video is posted. Thank you very much.